it almost seems like crypto is going through its first election cycle and everybody's mind has just like totally pivoted. If you look at trends, no matter who wins the election, things come back.
Welcome to the ATX DAO podcast, the hub for exploring the forefront of blockchain technology in Austin's Web3 community. We connect you with innovators within ATX DAO and beyond as we venture into the world of decentralized technology. So crack open a beer and join us for a front row seat to learn about the innovations and trends shaping our digital future. This is the ATX DAO podcast.
Luke, Ash, how are you guys?
Doing good, man. Doing real good.
Luke, I like your new Twitter name. Luke 9000 is pretty good. That's a nice one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's so if you follow a lot of Avalanche guys, there's 9000 is the big thing. So the Avalanche 9000 is launching in October, and so a lot of folks changed their name to 9000. But we'll see. I might keep it afterwards. The 152 I've had for a while, so 9000 is the new one.
What is 152? Yeah.
So it was actually my wrestling weight class. So when I was in high school, I wrestled, and 152 was my weight class. And so you don't really get like a number like if I was playing baseball, a number like that. So I went ahead and just kept that as my first name when I signed up for Twitter, and it stuck.
Wait, where did you grow up?
In New Mexico, so in Albuquerque.
So you ended up with the numbers 152, which can be rearranged to 512.
Yeah. It's just and a lot of times too, like people are like, oh, you misspelled 512, and it was just lucky coincidence. They got at least the same three numbers.
What is Avalanche 9000? I don't think I'm in the loop on this.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different ACPs or proposals that are going on, but kind of the big thing is it's going to make it really easy for folks to launch their own L1. They used to call them subnets, but now so previously you used to have to stake 2,000 AVAX, so like $40,000 for each node that you want, and you want at least three. So that's 120,000 you'd have to spend just to have your own subnet. But now they're making it super easy to do, where you just pay basically monthly rent to the P chain in order to have it synchronized, and you have your own L1. So they're expecting a lot of different app chains and stuff like that launch, and just some other things with like interoperability between different Avalanche chains, but then also with Cosmos and some other things. So they have right now some hackathons and things that are starting to build for it, but the big reveal is going to be at the summit in October.
Okay. And you've been doing the Avalanche Ambassador program, right?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. How's it going?
It's been good. I've gotten to like if you look at my timeline, it's pretty much all Avalanche stuff now. So I need to be a little bit more broad in what I post out there, but it's been good. So we've done. We had the big consensus event back during Consensus in May, and that was a blast. And then just doing a lot of writing. I've done a couple of videos for them and stuff like that. So it's been great.
Killer. And it feels good to be out of school, I'm sure.
It does. I thought I was going to have all this extra time when school was over, and I just managed to fill it all up with new things to do. So I'm just as busy, just doing different stuff that's a little bit more fun.
Nice. Ash, my man, what's up with you?
What's up, boys? Not much. Just got out of a heavy call, but enjoying my downtime and chatting with my broskies over here in the backyard, smoking a stogie. Got a new pup in my life. I got a little 4-month-old golden retriever named Bear, taking a shit right now and making eye contact with me, which is super intimate. And yeah, man, like doing me and co-founder built first AMM on Doge L1 ever. So, trying to go for the most retarded first ever. We're going to ship another retarded first pretty soon. Can't talk about it publicly, but it's going to be kind of big. And yeah, man, just trying to do the things that people don't want to do because they're hard and they're otherwise contrarian, right? That's about it. But I'm kind of glad that we got the gang back together here. It feels good, man.
Yeah, it's the OG crew. So Ash, like you must be pretty psyched about the whole Bitcoin DeFi narrative, right? Like that's your lane.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that, well, I like the idea of just like, in general, just like everything goes to a compute narrative because I feel like proof of just like, just like being like a store of value, I think is I think it's a solid narrative, but I feel like it can get left behind pretty quickly. Um, so I like the idea of DeFi compute, or just compute on Bitcoin and any of the UTXO chains, like Litecoin, Bell's Coin. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that used to be like, remember what was it like Farmville? Like Bell's Coin was a fork of Litecoin that was done by Billy M2K, which was done before Dogecoin, and that's based on the Farmville game. So that has compute on it now. Like, so I love all this, man. Like, because it's like it's just allowing people to go inside and experiment and do whatever the heck they really think is like valued, right? That's awesome. So I love it.
Awesome. Well, I've been here in Phoenix trying to figure out Phoenix a little bit, trying to survive the summer. It's we're down to the low hundreds, so I think we're gonna make it. Um, and then outside of that, just in the space, have just continued to push with step three with our project. And I know you guys know, but it's Web3 loyalty. Um, so really still trying to find a lane for that. I think loyalty has had kind of a rough ride in the Web3 space because there's been a lot of experimentation, but we haven't had like major use cases or examples of major wins for companies yet. But I'm still optimistic that it's happening. Like there are just too many good reasons to put some of this stuff on chain, and as crypto apps get easier and easier, which I think is top of mind for everybody, it's going to become clear that like it doesn't have to be as hard as we've made it historically. So even things like pass keys and making it very easy to sign transactions with your face, I think we're going to open up a whole new world for dApps that are trying to be more consumer friendly and like abstract a lot of the technology away.
I gotta ask a question on the step three stuff. Are you guys responsible for doing also the DID stuff, like the actual, like the facial verification or the biometric verification along with the actual like buy experience, or is that like no, that's someone else?
No, someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, because like man, I feel like this is such a missed opportunity. I actually think it would work hilariously on Dogecoin. I thought of DIDs as a dick identification, right? Like, so instead of getting dick pics, your dick is your identifier to basically buy or sell a meme NFT, right? Like, come on, it's just a layup right there.
You get mileage out of that for sure.
Dude, I'm surprised no one thought of it. It's so obvious. Like, like it's right there for the taking, guys. Take the dick ID idea. Yeah, no, but it's awesome to hear that you're doing well this step three stuff, man. Like I honestly think that you're right. Like loyalty systems being on chain makes a lot of sense, and the portability of loyalty across like different brands is like easier to do on this tech stack than that of like a centralized kind of tech stack itself. That's kind of like, hey, I don't want to share my loyalty buttons with everyone else. I kind of see why they do it from an economic perspective, but like you're right. Like it being on chain and it like it's just I think we're on the cusp of it. So it's definitely a worthwhile problem solving. Dick ID or no ID, like it's still very much a real thing.
Yeah. Well, like all startups, though, it's always like a question of can you survive long enough for it to be the thing, right? So it's the perpetual question of are we too early, and can we get to that bridge? But we'll see. We're still optimistic and still exploring, still building. Yeah. What about you guys? What's new in your worlds? What's exciting?
Well, Nick, going down
Yes, I actually did have a follow-up question for you. I was just curious on like so as I've heard folks talk about loyalty in Web3, like one of the things I hear a lot about is folks being able to kind of have that information open so people know like, hey, you're like a huge Dunkin' Donuts fan and they can tell that you have a certain level of loyalty or whatever. Are you finding that folks are wanting to make that information available, or are more of the clients that y'all work with wanting to keep that kind of internal information and just and that kind of thing? Are you seeing anything, any kind of lean from folks on that?
So in terms of like the company side of things, so companies that have traditional Web2 loyalty programs, I think there is still very much this internal resistance to programs that are more open collaboration style, right? Like, inspired by decentralized models where nobody owns the alliance and everybody is just a participant in that. And so I think there's some real hesitations and concerns around, what does it mean to put customer data on chain? Is that going to be, are we shooting ourselves in the foot down the road because now, our competitors can see our customers' preferences? And I think that there are some valid concerns around that, particularly around data privacy, right? Like you can't put PII on chain. You wouldn't want to, number one, but there's just not a feasible way to do that for companies at scale in a way that makes sense and keeps them data compliant. So, I think we're probably a couple of turns of the crank ahead of where the vision ultimately lands. I think on the consumer side, it's all about like what's in it for me. So if you look at the data from like millennials, Gen Z, they're actually more apt to hand over data as long as there's transparency in how their data is used and there's a fair deal for them. So if you're going to incentivize somebody for their data and you're telling them exactly how it's going to be used, there's not really an issue with it. And so I think actually consumers are going to be more receptive to this model. I can share my data for benefit, and I feel better about sharing my data in an environment where I can see how that data is used, or I can see how I'm represented in the system. Like right now, the way web browsers work and advertising works, you're a cookie, and you have no idea how you show up on some of these ad marketplaces where people are buying and selling your data all the time. Whereas in a world where our preferences, our purchase histories are on chain, we can actually look at our own sort of digital image and say like, oh, that's me. That's how I'm represented to people. That's how I want to be represented to people. I think there's a lot of little things that have to change, like, wallet profiles haven't really become a thing yet. I know that Coinbase wallet has started to do that, but I think just as a concept, people need to kind of get more comfortable with this idea of A, having an on-chain identity, but then B, having a way to kind of divide that identity into ways that make sense for their lives. So I could have a professional identity or a sports fan identity or a medical records identity. And these are all tied to on-chain assets, which then, I can connect to various benefits in my life and various service providers, brands, et cetera, who are able to look at that history and do something meaningful with it in a way that is beneficial for both parties.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense, especially what you're saying about kind of splitting, like splitting your identities in certain cases. And I think some of the stuff that I maybe would accumulate loyalty rewards for in a professional setting, I don't necessarily want mixed with like my crazy Austin FC fandom or something like that.
Exactly.
So yeah, it makes a ton of sense.
Bro, are you saying you don't want to commingle your cock exposure with AVAX 9000 and your Dunkin' Donuts points, bro?
I mean, so my cock exposure definitely is intermingled with Avalanche 9000. The Dunkin' Donuts part, I don't know if I need them seeing that part, but yeah.
I respect that.
So Mace, tell us. You started telling us a little bit about the stuff going on with Stand With Crypto. What's the latest going on in that space? I know you're traveling all over the place.
Yeah. I don't know. Election season is crazy. Obviously, it seems like every election is unprecedented. Every current event is unprecedented, but crypto is more and more important. We're undeniable now, so that's exciting. I think there was an article recently. I think Brian did some type of interview, and he was like, "Look, it's now political suicide to be anti-crypto," and I think that will relatively turn out to be true. Hopefully, we'll have to see how these elections go, but if we do well in the elections that the industry is playing in, I think that will 100% be validated. And really, I think it's pretty obvious at this point that crypto is good and going to be part of the future no matter what. And you will see a bipartisan majority, not like a bipartisan coalition, the Democrats are still, not there all the way, but there's enough of them that gives me and a lot of folks confidence that we'll get something done. The extent of what can get done really depends on a lot of these elections that are coming up, though. But all good signs, to be honest. And then you see like what I was going to say earlier, talking about being too early or not. The like USDC the stablecoins get a lot of love these days. I think that's kind of seen in a lot of ways as a killer app, even though it's not really a killer app in like a colloquial sense. Maybe I'm wrong there. It's not like a DApp or anything, but stablecoins make sense to people. It's one of the great ways to demonstrate the inherent qualities that make blockchain useful, like the instant settlement, the self-custody, all types of DeFi shenanigans, borderless, quick, everything good, right? And it's just a great way to see how this works. And I think we're going to see a lot of people understand that going forward. And that might just be kind of the secret way that everybody gets on chain. But I don't know, I'm just speculating right now. There's a lot of work to do, but feeling good. And we're doing pretty good. When I say we, also, I'm talking about the crypto lobby as a whole. Standard Crypto I'm not necessarily speaking for us here. I'm just kind of saying the industry in general. We're like nonpartisan. We endorse some candidates, but our primary goal is just rallying people, which has been pretty fun. And yeah, I don't know what other questions can I answer.
Mason, when it comes to the advocacy side and just standing crypto up for the public as a force for good, like I guess you could go two directions. Like either what are the points that you're reinforcing over and over again, like the benefits of crypto, what are the things you focus on, or what are the big friction points for people or the misnomers that you find yourself coming up against over and over again?
Yeah, the main points that we're trying to make with crypto, a lot of it is going to be pointed towards things like, how does America stay at the forefront of innovation? How does America keep jobs and grow jobs and retain talent and encourage safe compliance that helps everybody? How do we kind of engage the industry with the government so people can grow, but also consumers don't get screwed while the entrepreneurs don't get screwed? And we also talk a lot about, what I was saying earlier about genuine improvements on financial systems. You can talk about all types of things there, like financial inclusion, and then just strict technology improvements. And if you go and you can see, I think there was the FDIC chair a while ago released some statement. I mean, maybe it wasn't the FDIC chair, but I think it was really the FDIC. It was very good. It was basically saying, hey, look, we really want to explore blockchains because they have instant settlement and 24/7 service. We'd love to find a way to explore that. And you need some type of structure in place so the floodgates can open, which I think is coming. And then there's all types of fun stuff you can start exploring. I mean, you're talking about your loyalty and stuff. I'm very interested in creating, I'd love to see what we can do with identity and all that good stuff. But in a lot of ways, when you look at the bureaucratic processes in the world with data that you may have that you might want to store on chain or whatever, it's kind of hard to imagine that transition happening outside of with zero engagement from the established systems. And the established systems are not always enthusiastic to touch something that can be relatively toxic with the current administration.
Yeah, no, those are great points. And I think too, like on the incumbent side, there's the self-disruption question that they have to deal with. especially with payment systems. Like, there's a point at which they're all going to have to get on board, but there's also internal pain they probably have to get past in terms of killing cash cows or transitioning systems that is going to cause short-term pain for them. I totally agree on the stablecoin thing. I think, it is kind of the silent killer when it comes to apps, and because it is so universal and everybody understands it, it doesn't take a lot of explanation to get the idea of a digital dollar across to somebody. And it's something that, the surface area for the application is huge, right? I mean, everything from large purchases to microtransactions, like there's so many different ways that can touch people's lives where they just immediately and intuitively understand the value of having digital dollars and a way to digitally transact with each other. So I'm excited to see where that goes. I just saw a stat on PYUSD. Like, that one's quietly ticking up there. It had a moment on Solana where it almost flipped Tether, it looked like.
Yeah, stablecoins are kind of crushing it low key.
Yeah.
And then you see like ENS with PayPal and Venmo.
Yep.
And then you look at like just the user experience, and obviously there's leaps of faith that have to be made when you're becoming an on-chain individual. But if you think about, okay, I get some of money in USDC into my wallet, I'm immediately earning 5% minimum APY in savings without doing much work while still having complete control of my asset. And then I can just pay it without fees. I can swap it without fees to euro if I need, without anybody stopping me. That's a pretty easy thing to explain to people. Like you said, it's a very, very communicatable. I don't know if that's even a word. It's something you can really demonstrate simply. But then also you have, and we had this problem with ATX DAO, right? Is like, if you want to get local businesses supported with crypto in some way, you have to find the value prop. And then when you look at someone who's running a shop with Square or Visa, and you're losing 2 to 5% off the top of every transaction, if USDC is easy to use, then they're also getting 5% APY on whatever money they get out of any of transactions, and they're saving 2 to 5% transaction fees anyway. So that's kind of like it's an easy sell as long as it's easy to do. And Coinbase is heavily pushing the stablecoin narrative because they've got financial interests involved, and also I think part of strategy, right, is this the killer app? Probably. And they have like the marketing that they want to do where you look at, go down the street to your store and it says Visa, MasterCard accepted here, whatever. I think they want to do like USDC accepted here type sticker. And then if that works, and if people can kind of take that leap of faith, then I think you see stuff going on. I'd love to see like Apple Wallet, Apple Pay with crypto. I don't know if that's coming, but that could be really great.
We're starting to see credit cards. There's a MasterCard experiment now in the EU, where it's linked directly to a self-custody crypto account. So you can literally spend from your crypto on a card without ever touching an intermediary, which I think for a lot of people could be pretty game changing to understand that, like, oh, I can be my own. I'm a sovereign bank, right? A self-sovereign bank, and I can actually draw on that at any point in time using the tools that I already have. That's going to be a pretty powerful unlock.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Actually, we were just talking about that on the pod that came out yesterday with Michael from Consensus. So MetaMask is piloting that. So banks, I think, is the B. It's a BA. It's either 2 A's or 2 X's. But they seem to be the main one doing that. But they're partnering with MetaMask. I think they're also the card provider behind Ledger. But again, all in the EU. So looking forward to that coming to the States at some point.
I gotta also share on this, like Revolto has done something with Own the Doge, which is owned by Pleasure DAO. So they basically allowed for like Kabosu, the dog, like the meme, the face of Dogecoin, to be licensed out to this card. So you can now have it on your debit card or credit card. It's kind of like planting the seed for the idea that, like, hey, there's this cute little dog. I wonder what this cute little dog is. And I agree 100%. Like that, like the USDC thing with it being kind of like, dude, you get 5% here, or you can go to like Wells Fargo and you get 1%. So you can decide what you want to do with your own money. You're a big boy or a big girl, you can do that. That's something that needs to be hammered on. But I think that the real thing that'll really spur adoption is the super app thesis. Like if I mean, we're all on Twitter, like, and I think those of you that know me, like, I think Elon's pretty cool, but like, I'm not like an Elon fanboy by any means. Like, I think some of his products are great, some of his products are not great. But if you look at Twitter, Twitter is the ideal case for the super app thesis, right? X payments is like aggregating payments licenses and remittances. Theoretically, with a large social app, can you basically do money remittances via Twitter? And if so, would you want to do it on like antiquated like kind of rails, or would you want to do it on crypto rails? And that would be like, holy shit, that means like all Twitter users could basically send money around. And that's, if you have a KYC component to it, which I think some of them would agree to, like that's a huge, powerful thing, right? Along with USDC being like synonymous with the idea of like the US dollar or a stable coin, or the EUSD being synonymous with the euro, like you need a super app. I think Twitter could be very much that super app. So if Elon's listening in the Anon section here, bro, like stop fucking around with the Cybertruck, bro, and get back to shit on Twitter.
Dude, I need the Cybertruck though. I need it so bad. That's my next car. That's my dream car. But
Okay,
no, dude,
okay. Sidebar, real quick on that Cybertruck. Do you really like it?
I love it. It's so cool.
Really?
Oh, it's
I've seen it for all the time, and I can't get over the look. I can't get over it, man.
it's so cool, man. It's so cool. To me, it's the only car that I want. I bought a truck like recently. Just it's a holdover. I think I get the Cybertruck. I'm targeting 2-3 years from now for the Cybertruck. We'll see, but I love it. But
if you want a Cybertruck, I think that you should wait until maybe winter starts to set in. I bet you can probably pick one up in the secondhand market relatively quickly, because a lot of them are made with aluminum I think components, and aluminum doesn't do well in like wintertime, especially with salt. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a group of people that are like, oh, holy shit, this thing corrodes if I live like above a certain point. And the best places to have this would probably be like Arizona, Texas, or something like that, where it's like, I don't have to deal with salt all the time, because that shit just erodes itself. That's why you use steel, right? Like just a fun little tidbit and something to consider. So it doesn't have to be 2 to 3 years, man. You could probably get one on maybe a little bit of a reduced cost in like 2 to 3 months.
Well, this is breaking news for y'all probably, but Kathleen and I are actually moving to New York next year, so I don't need a car.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Are you going for Stand with Crypto?
Well, Kathleen's family is up in New York,
Okay.
Queens and Jersey, so we're gonna do some years up there now. Now that she is my betrothed, but we're going up there, gonna have a new adventure. I'm very excited. I think there's a lot of upside for me in that city, to be honest.
Yeah, you'll have a good time.
Yeah, but you better come back and start your political career in Texas, bro. You better come back and spin it up over here.
I mean, Texas, not everyone can be from Texas. I'm trying to come back, but my vision, I got to go up there, boss up in ways that you can never, ever imagine. And then come back and then go hard.
Happy for you and the wifey, man. That's awesome. That's going to be such a fucking awesome part of your journey now. Like, dude, man. You better be rocking those fucking Tacovas up there, though.
Yeah, and the bolo tie.
I'm planning on being a Texan very strong part of my brand as I recreate my circle of friends and my image.
Yeah, we need like a cowboy boot DAO or like a boot DAO or whatever. Just the DAO for people who's from Texas and wear boots.
Oh, but you would need sub DAOs. You can't just have one boot DAO. Way too many different kinds of boots.
Oh yeah.
What other?
Are we including Crocs in boots in boot DAO as well?
Crocs?
No.
Yeah, Crocs. It's a subcategory of boots, bro.
It's not a boot. Crocs aren't boots.
Crocs are like the Pacific Southwest version of boots, bro. They're like the ultimate water boot.
Okay, guys, we should definitely talk about if we think there's any alpha to be had. I have it's so crazy. I think so. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking is like you go back whatever 6 months and it's or maybe 9 at this point, I don't know. And you go on the timeline and it's just like people just degenning everything. Farcaster had like 100,000 daily active users. Now they've got like 650, I think, which is wild. But it almost seems like crypto is going through its first election cycle, and everybody's mind has just like totally pivoted. So I actually have no idea what's going on besides like if you look at trends, no matter who wins the election, things come back. Like that's what I saw a chart that was like the election is just the most universally uncertain thing, and so you get chop. But that's kind of what I'm seeing or in my head. Obviously, my entire life is politics right now, so I can't really be degenning, but that's where I'm at.
No, I agree. I think everybody's just waiting for November. I think we come out strong either way on the other side, but we're just in this weird pause moment, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, because like for us, like we were flirting with the idea of going out to like raise capital for our seed, right? Like full disclosure. But at the same time, like, you know, we're like, I don't know, we want to. But like the funny thing is, I'm talking to like other founders and they're like, dude, like it's amazing out here right now. September, October, we're all feeling good. Market goes up, market goes down. Either way, crypto, like, you know, like Mason said, there's like 50 million Americans that own fucking crypto. That's like wild to think about, right? It feels good, man. I feel like the price action is still very much sideways. It's like crab walking our way to November 5th. But it's still like if you're a founder or if you're like even flirting with the idea of wanting to do anything on the space, like this is the perfect time to do it. Like it's just come build, come explore, and then you know, ape into shit if you want to. But like it's just part of the experience, man. I don't know. I feel great. Maybe it's the cigar and you know the intimate eye contact with Bear, as you know, as I mentioned earlier in the cast. But good vibes, man. I really feel good vibes.
So what are you degenning into, Ash?
Bro, you know I'm balls deep into Doge, bro. Like I'm a Doge maxi now, dude. They red pilled me like hard. They yellow pilled me or Doge pilled me hard. But I gotta say, so I haven't like minted out anything, but like there's a lot of like Bitcoin chads and Dogecoin chads that are also building on Bell's coin, like as I mentioned earlier. It's kind of interesting, even from a tech perspective. Like they're trying to do scalability. They're trying to tackle like scalability issues on Bell's coin. And it's such a low market cap now. I know there's lots of builders that are coming in there trying to build like early primitives, experiment with scaling. Like, dude, I feel like that whole sector is just like anyone who's in the EVM world or Solana world, not looking at it is kind of like, bro, like just spend like one afternoon while you're drinking, you know, through your obligatory 6-pack, nursing your losses, like, you know, licking your wounds from your losses in like Sol or EVM. Go check it out because it's like the market cap is like extremely low. But like I said, this is not investment advice, not financial advice. And I haven't minted out anything in there, but like as a builder, both me and Rashad were looking at it and we're like, holy shit, like this thing looks kind of promising. It looks pretty cool, actually. So I would say that's pretty neat. Also, I'm pretty bullish AVAX 9000. Now that Luke has been talking to me, he's been like trying to inception the idea of like, bro, come on AVAX, you know, cock on AVAX. That's where it's at. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, man, I'm stoked about all this stuff. I'm stoked about Harry Potter Obama. That shit is going to come out of nowhere too, I think. And people are going to be surprised about like all the shit that they're cooking. And obviously Bera and those dudes, those guys are fucking chads.
Yeah.
Like when you go up to New York, man, you got to go hang out with those bros because they're like fucking like mentions.
Yeah, I have a superset of the Mabera collection, so that should be interesting. I know that's honey jar, so it's not technically a bong bear or whatever, but I'm waiting on that one. We'll see how that goes. What was I gonna say? I've heard, yeah, honestly, I heard that Harry Potter, what was it, Harry Potter Sonic Obama 9000 or whatever it's called. I heard that they're cooking some serious stuff behind the scenes too. That was something I heard. I don't own any of it though. I
Dude, you can never have enough exposure to Sonic and Bitcoin. That's their ticker, right? It's gonna be
yeah, it's a great
hilarious.
ticker. But no, I'm over here just like
trying to survive all the bearish takes about Ethereum. The sentiment is just brutal. And you're like, it's like, guys, come on now. What is it? We're down over the year. Was it with less than T-bonds or T-bills? Like, it's wild, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I gotta say, speaking of it, I gotta ask, like, what did you guys think about Vitalik coming out and saying like DeFi is kind of like old news? Like, would you guys have any like, shit, that hit me right in the gut?
I mean, I didn't read his article because that sounds insane. I honestly don't read anything that Vitalik puts out. I don't really care about him, but I don't know. Maybe he'll hear this one day and then kill me. But I have no reason. I mean, I guess I should care about him if he's like, Mr. Ethereum, but he shouldn't be Mr. Ethereum, right? That's the whole point. So, I mean, he's like, oh, you shouldn't care about politics. Oh, it's like, okay, man. Like, what is he, Canadian? All right, man, log off.
Yeah, I blame it on the fact that he got a girlfriend. I think Ethereum's price action is directly related to the fact that Vitalik has a girlfriend. He got a girlfriend, and now it's like, bro, there's more to life than just like building and like tech and crypto. So it's like, hey, there's like this whole other world called humanity. And I'm like, bro, come back to the basement. We all are slaving away here. We need you back down here.
Yeah, well, I guess like if he came in and was like, can we deal with this L2 situation? Maybe, I don't know. How does it work? I'm so not tapped into how Ethereum actually gets developed. I'm like, oh, these guys are giga chads, mega smart people. They're just gonna do everything perfectly. And then, I don't know. That's how I feel about Bitcoin too. I was hanging out with some Bitcoin guy and I was like, can you explain to me how this stuff is gonna be secured when the mining rewards don't really keep up with the work that people are doing, and no one has given me an answer to that. But so like someone was like, well, if the hash rate is going up, it doesn't matter anyway. But I'm still looking for that answer. I'm just buying Bitcoin.
You mean
and
when the incentive gets too low, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Because people aren't going to be I find
we dead by then?
Well, I mean, I saw some math that was like, look, it needs to, price of Bitcoin relative to the dollar needs to, keep going up a lot in the relative short term or midterm to keep that security economically viable. But then again, I'm like so out of my depth here because then there's all these ideas about like, well, look, if I'm a corporate miner, publicly traded, and I'm like, now that we have the AI thing, it becomes an interesting, more diversified model because it's like, look, I have like all these data centers out in West Texas, just totally like ravaging small towns with new, like I can start renting out my my data centers to AI, and that's a whole like diverse business model, which is interesting. But I don't know. I'm just trusting that the Bitcoin guys are going to figure it out.
Well, I think that we have 118 years left before the last Bitcoin is like mined out, because I think it's like supposed to mine out in like 2100 and change or something like that. So we got a few years left. Most likely the only person who will have to try and solve that problem is fucking Brian Johnson. That motherfucker wants to live forever. So, it's probably him that's going to have to try to solve that with all the Bitcoin stands that are left. But yeah, I gotta say, like, I mean, that is a valid question. I mean, it is a good question to ask. I think we're gonna have on the pod actually someone from the Taproot Wizards who's looking to talk about how compute can actually make sure that, like, as Bitcoin is getting mined further along and we're approaching that 2100 limit, will putting compute on it actually give it more of a relevance and use case as we go along, right? It kind of departs it from the store of value thesis. But yeah, I think that'd be a great question for him. I'm gonna make sure that, like, I'll be like, Mason asked this question. Give me an answer, bro.
We should do these. I like the podcast recording on X. It's pretty fun. Then you get some people listening. What's up, everybody? But yeah, I know. Well, I remember when Ordinals was pumping, it was like transaction fees are crazy, and then it's like as long as people are degenning Ordinals and runes or whatever, then the incentive problem is solved. If everyone's just degenning Ordinals and runes all the time, you're good to go. So who knows? It'll get figured out, I'm sure. In the meantime, HODL, all that stuff. Yeah. Anyone else got something to say? I was going to ask if you guys watched any of the All In Summit yesterday. I know that's like off topic though.
I didn't. What stuck out to you?
I like the Elon. I mean, I don't know. We were talking about Elon earlier. He had a pretty good talk, about an hour long. He was good. I mean, honestly want to see Peter Thiel's, but it hasn't been uploaded, and I wasn't there, or I wasn't watching any live stream. But I like the Elon one. I like. I've been like, man, I think it's probably a good idea to just be hopeful about space travel. That sounds like a really something that would be good for my soul, to just be like, man, we're gonna go to space and it's gonna be awesome. So
I don't think there's any advantage to betting against space travel.
Yeah, he's talking about like Starfleet and stuff, like a world where AI makes everybody like prosperity so massive that you don't even have to like what is it in Star Trek? Like everybody's just kind of like having fun and exploring space. He's talking about that, and I'm like, I know right now like it's just commercial shipping. It's obviously gonna be like so hard to get to Mars or whatever, but it's cool to be like, man, we have a cool future. That sounds nice. So I was like, I'm like, what is it? I try to be a techno optimist or whatever, but it's fun to hear.
Does that mean we all get UBI because crypto just keeps going up?
Yeah, I don't know about the UBI thing, dude.
Well, how do we finance our galactic travels?
Yeah, I don't know. One of those things for the other people to figure out. I'm just here telling people to go vote for pro crypto candidates.
I think that yesterday on the All In Summit, did JD Vance show up? I thought like JD Vance and like Calacanis and Elon had like a small panel too. Did you check that one out? Because I wanted to see that.
I watched Elon's panel and I watched JD Vance's panel. Yeah.
How was he? Like, how was that panel? Because he's an ex VC guy, right? He's a Valley guy.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. He's incredibly pro crypto. He talked about crypto multiple times. He owns a lot of Bitcoin, and he is very experienced as far as VC stuff goes. So he's got a pretty robust background in all types of stuff. So he's very articulate. So I thought it was a good conversation for sure. He talked about crypto a lot. I know it's like, I mean, he does all the time. Like he's all about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about this. If we really do usher in a world where they have this like Star Trek kind of economy or reality, it obviously relies on energy independence, right? Which is really kind of interesting because it has like these huge kind of undercurrent like effects, obviously on crypto and AI itself. So, us being blessed, being in the great state of Texas, right? Like, we're all about energy over here. And and it's a mixed bag of like energy kind of like sources that are popping up. It's super cool, man. Like, I feel like one of the cool things is like, if we really want to do usher in that reality, we need like strong energy resources here. I'm stoked about going to this energy conference in like next month. But yeah, dude, I really hope that does come true. I mean, I think I'll be long and dead before that happens, but like, it would be fucking dope to have my kids and their kids like basically make sure that we live in this world where it's like we don't have to worry about those things, so we can more focus on like other things, But I guess that has other kinds of realities with like externalities not allowing for competition and all that stuff. But that's just my own dark rabbit hole that I will fall into. Sorry.
Yeah. Or energy conference. Is it gonna be like Bitcoin coverage there as part of like the curriculum, so to speak? Or is it just traditional energy specific?
I don't think it has anything. It's not like a Bitcoin specific thing. It's just I think it's called the Jackson Hole Technology Partnership. Funnily, it's backed by Deal and Founders Fund, and yeah, I think it has a lot of like Miltech and energy kind of like implications on it. But I'm sure Bitcoin will be one of those things that's like talked about there, either directly or indirectly. But yeah, I don't know if there's a direct Bitcoin curriculum or agenda item there. But if there is, in fact, like it'd be dope. I should connect you guys with the guys organizing it. You should come up there and talk about Bitcoin, bro.
I don't know if I can talk that well about Bitcoin. I do love the Bitcoin energy like whole thing where you get your economics of your renewable energy pumping, and then I love the idea of Bitcoin miners using scrap energy almost. I went to that the North American Blockchain Summit with you that one time, and I got orange pilled for sure about the way that Bitcoin miners can stabilize the grid and incentivize energy production, all that stuff. I was like, let's go, dude. But
Yeah, I got it, dude. Shout out to you. Well, thanks to you and Lee, man. Because like honestly, that was like a first kick-ass conference. I went with you and a bunch of members from the DAO, and like Lee was so gracious, like to give us some tickets for it, and like we went there, and that excursion where you go check out like a mining operation and go talk to people. I had a chance to talk to this dude from Marathon. He was telling me all about like the cool shit that they're working on, and I was like, bro, like there is so much in that area that like real engineering and real tech is being done, and like an actual like hands-on like atom level. It's not just electrons like where a lot of us work in, like it's actual atoms. So it's real hardware, right? And it's like it's pretty impressive, man. Like I gotta say, that was one of those huge conferences that I was like, hey, let me just go have fun. But I walked out of there with like a fuck ton of knowledge about like a subject that I didn't even know existed, and I was like, whoa, there's a bunch of fucking cool people working on these problems. So pretty neat. Shout out to that conference and Lee, and thanks to you, dude.
that was fun for sure. And then we got to smoke those cigars. That was good. No,
Speaking of conferences, are you guys going to anything soon? Anyone going to permissionless?
I got a ticket from, I have a Bad Kid NFT, and so I got a ticket from I think his name is Mike or something, one of the co-founders. But I don't know if I'm gonna go. I got some event that I'm sponsoring with Standard Crypto that I probably need to pop out to. So that's where my head's at. Gotta go.
Yeah, I'm doing permissionless. I think me, Rashad, and Mac, our entire team is like hacking there actually at permissionless, looking for more devs. So that's kind of cool. I go to Token next week, so I'll be doing Token and Breakpoint, and Ken from the DAO was trying to get me to go to like network states, and I was like, bro, I'm gonna be so fucking wrecked. I don't know if I'll be able to show up and like listen to someone like really try and communicate to me, and I'll be like, dude, I'm just gonna be exhausted. But yeah, Rashad's going to do Token and ETH Global there and hacking over there. But we're excited about that, man. I think it's going to be fucking wild. I know a bunch of people are going to DevCon, like in Thailand. It's going to be lit. I know Bankless is throwing something in Thailand too, so it's going to be wild, man. I'm sure we should get the DAO over there. We should all head out and do one of these conferences to in Asia one of these days. Either like something like first quarter of next year or next second quarter would be kind of cool.
I think a DevCon pilgrimage to Thailand sounds amazing.
It does sound amazing.
I think we need to put this up in the governance aspect. Do you think we can get this on governance where they say, please send the podcast to do purely entertainment and research on Thailand. If we don't leave the beach, please don't blame us. Bro, did we guys talk about the election real quick in the debate yesterday?
Let's definitely talk about that. That sounds fun. Like, well, here's the question I have for you guys. I think Polymarket. No, wait. I think Polymarket. It was 49-49 last night. Like tied Trump, Kamala. I think now Trump's up again. But if you were buying Polymarket odds, what are you guys thinking?
I think Kamala wins it, bro. I don't know, man. Like, by the way, I think the new alpha, if you're talking about alpha, Haitian cat eater coin, I'm pretty sure that's gonna fucking blow up. Like, that's gonna be wild. So if anyone's looking for that alpha, and anyone who hasn't minted it on Doge should probably mint it out on Doge and spin up that pool on the AMM. I think it'd be hilarious. So I'm pretty sure you would collect a lot of fees from doing that. That's wild. But I gotta say, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty apolitical. Like, I think everyone knows that. Like, I don't really try and get involved in politics too much. I like to keep an eye on things. But I feel like Harris kind of won it. I felt like Trump just didn't have to go off rails, and he kind of went off the rails a little bit. And that kind of made it be like, yo, like the people on the left and the right were not the people that you really wanted to get at, voting for you anyways. It was the people in the middle. And all you had to do is just kind of like stay the course. And it kind of felt like disappointing that he couldn't do that. But that's the only thing. I don't know. That's just my dumb thing.
Well, she crushed it, no doubt. I think. But I think both of their bases were really happy. I mean, Trump's base was like, oh, it was a 3-1, you know, oh, he was so strong, or like he had definitely had some moments for sure, as well. So I think from my all the information I absorb and from people I know's takes is it probably won't really necessarily have a material impact um, at all. But I did see some like surprising poll numbers. Reuters had a poll that was like people like more of the independent voters they had polled swung to Trump just because he had a more compelling vision, or not vision, but he was more trustworthy on the economy and immigration, and so they like swung towards him, and that's really kind of what the election hinges on at the end of the day. And there was some other polling on CNN that was like Trump's lead on economy and immigration actually increased despite him kind of taking the bait all the time. He took the bait every single time. It's just like, dude, come on.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? Luke?
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought that was really interesting too, because like normally he's the one that baits his opponent, and then they take his bait. And I felt like Mason was saying, like every time she said like use certain trigger words on him, he definitely jumped on those. But I think overall, I think it was just my personal point of view is that it's probably they both did great, and I think his best performance I've seen him do.
Yeah, I think I would give. I listened to the full thing this morning. I didn't catch it last night. I would probably give Kamala like a very slight edge, but I got to say my favorite Trump quote of the entire thing was, "I have a concept for a plan."
Oh yeah, he had some zingers too. That was a crazy one though. Yeah, he came off very passionate, you know. That's good, I suppose. But yeah,
Yeah, I gotta say, the one big thing about this election year is like I feel like just a bunch of like degens and stands just like sitting by the debate and just like spinning up tokens in relation to this, because there's so much hilarious shit that's just going on. I feel like irrespective of the issues, right? Like it's just like there's so much entertainment that like, bro, like Haitian cat token, awesome. Like cat eaters, dog eaters, dude. We were talking about it this morning, like. One of the people in our space this morning was from Nigeria, and he was talking about it and having a laugh, bro. It's just like it's hilarious. I feel like for crypto and the debates are kind of like wild to just create these like meme coins and stuff. I don't know. That's just because I'm kind of myopic and like wanting to do the left curve, low IQ stuff. But like, I just think it's like funny.
well, you could just take it to Polymarket though. Like, I think some people made some big money last night on betting that he would say cats in the debate, and that was pretty good bet. But I think some people cashed out for sure. They're eating the cats.
Yeah, I know someone who made money on that bet.
Yeah, I mean it's a real good bet to take. Like not bad at all. Yeah, but so from my understanding, like the election's still just gonna come down to like tens of thousands of votes across swing states. I mean, there's a total chance that it's the opposite, and like there's like something crazy happens, I guess. But based on what I've heard, it's gonna just be like really, really tight margins in the swing states, which is kind of like why the stand of crypto advocate numbers are so interesting in this specific election cycle. But yeah, what's interesting is if you look at like voter registration numbers, the GOP is crushing the Democrats. At least they have like in a lot of the data I've seen. So a lot of this election is just going to come down to who can get more of their side to go vote, who can register more people, because like I think Trump definitely has won over a lot of new voters. Maybe not a lot, right? But like more. I think he's won over more new voters than people expect, just because he's done such a good job with all this alternative media, and like because the tech community has kind of had a splinter go through it. But I think it's just going to come down to how many people can just get out and vote. So there's so many people that don't vote. You just got to do the work, and it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I gotta say, one thing I can say for Trump for sure, like, because I had the pleasure of going to Nashville and being in that room when he spoke. Dude definitely has a funny energy about him. Like he's hilarious, man. Like I think Jibby, maybe he was at Nashville too. Like, bro, like he literally walked out. He walked out like an hour late. right? And his opening line was like, and I think I mentioned this in a previous podcast, but I keep referencing it because it's like hilarious. He's like, so he walked out an hour late and he's like, sorry guys, I'm an hour late. Secret Service said they needed a little bit more time to get everything ready. And he's like, take all the time you need, guys. And I'm like, bro, this is like right after the assassination attempt. Like, come on, like you got to have kind of like Chad energy to like walk out and say that and like take on this crowd. Like, he did the typical thing, of course, where he'd say something and then immediately retract it back and he would play both sides. But it's like classic Trump, right? Like, I feel like listening to this guy talk, it's entertaining. And I can see why, like, there's a cult of personality around him because, like, he is genuinely kind of like funny, smart, and articulate. And like it feels like, you know, kind of like the Bush thing, right? Like back in the day, they'd be like, oh, people vote with who do you want to have a beer with at the end of the day, right? And I'd be like, yo, if I had to choose between the two, I would have a beer with like Trump any day, like any day. It just rather than like Harris or Biden. Like, and that's just not the politics. That's just me weighing my personal opinion, just saying that, hey, like I saw this guy. I was like 60 feet away from this guy, and this guy feels like he would be hilarious to just hang around with and just talk to. I don't know, man. There's something special and magnetic about that guy's energy.
No doubt, but we got to shout out Kamala too. She crushed it last night. But yeah, no doubt there. I was there at that speech. It was pretty impressive. I thought one funny Trumpism recently that I saw was when RFK endorsed him on stage in Arizona, I think it was, and he was like, Bobby, he gave me a call after, and then he's like, I can't believe I even have to say this, after they tried to assassinate me. it was so funny. But yeah, I think Kamala crushed it last night, for sure. Was it you have a beer with Trump and have a glass of wine with Kamala? But Trump doesn't drink.
Yeah, dude, I'm down.
Trump doesn't drink, so
I'm down. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you do with him.
Dude, it was good to put the band back together on this, though. I like this new medium,
Yeah,
though.
same here.
Thank you for everyone that tuned in. Shout out Gio, shout out John.
Thanks for hanging out, guys. It's good to catch up.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. And one quick thing, we forgot to shout out to our real sponsor. So Black Star Co-op sponsors the podcast, our official beer sponsor. So if y'all are local Austin, definitely check them out. But guys, it's been great chatting with y'all. And we'll do it again soon.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
Take care, boys.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the ATX DAO podcast. If you like what you heard, please rate, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends and colleagues. To learn more about ATX DAO, visit us at atxdao.com and follow us on X, Farcaster, and LinkedIn at ATX DAO. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.